We are back on BLCVikings.com for another edition of the Bethany Sports Beat. And as we close out the spring seasons here, we're going to talk about baseball at this point. A guy who just spent his weekend up in Duluth at the UMAC Championship Tournament. In fact, got all the way to the championship game, only to drop a tough 3-0 loss to St. Scholastic. But Ryan Kragh here to talk about the baseball season. And you guys had one of those wild swings to the season where you had a great Arizona trip, come back and you kind of struggle with some of the elements and getting back outside, saw maybe some of the errors mount up, but in the end, everything kind of gelled, and you guys had a great run in the postseason tournament, just unable to get that last win that you needed to force the deciding game against Scholastica. Feel pretty good about where things ended up, or a little bit of unfulfilled opportunities?
We feel good about it. I mean, I think the goal for our coaching staff before every year starts is to play our best baseball at the end of the year, and I thought, that last game in the championship, I thought we played the best game we played all year. I mean, we did have a couple errors that cost us some runs, but overall we played well. We gave ourselves a chance to win. We had bases loaded, 1 out in the 9th, and just couldn't come through. But I think if you look throughout the course of the year, I think the biggest thing that kind of caught up to us through the whole thing was just the errors. And I think I looked at the stats today, we had 101 errors, which is, for a college baseball program, shouldn't happen. And we've had years, I think 2 or 3 years, where we haven't had 100 in 2 or 3 years. So it's just one of those things where it kept building, and it's something we couldn't get away from.
And I would imagine the more you talked about it, because at some point it becomes mostly a mental thing, does it not?
Well, and I think that's half the thing, and we didn't talk about it a lot towards the end, just other than the fact that, hey, we're going to win games if we can make plays. It wasn't a negative talk, but we had the kids that were talented enough to make plays. It just seemed that whenever a big play needed to be made, we couldn't make it, and it ended up always costing us. So it's just one of those deals where hopefully we'll just kind of erase it for next year, and some of these kids that are back will be prepared and be ready to go.
How fast for you do you close the door on this past year and already start to look forward? Has that transition already happened to some degree?
I think it does off and on. I mean, this is a special group for me. These 6 seniors are a good group of kids. I think I got pretty close with all of them, and so it's going to be kind of tough to see those guys go. But again, as a college baseball coach, you have to start looking for the future, and we've been looking for the future all year with recruiting and having visits and texts and phone calls and all those type of things. But kind of want to let this one soak in a little bit just because it's such a special group, and kind of went through a lot of different things this year, and I thought had a pretty good end to it.
It's going to be tough to single out any of the group of 6 seniors you talk about. Certainly if you look at some of the postseason honors, a guy like Adam Geiger is going to jump off right away. One of the leaders in the batting race in the conference, in fact, batted over 400 for you this year. You see the names of like Lucas Hurd, Tyler Hebrink, Ronnie Donnelly, Joe Tucholsky. These are names that have really been synonymous with Bethany baseball here for a number of seasons. Kind of tough to see them go. Yeah,
really tough to see them go. And the 4 guys you named hit 1, 2, 3, 4 in our order. So, Adam Geiger, the kid just showed up on this campus and hit every single year. I think he ended up hitting 405 or 404 this year, which I believe is a new record for Bethany. I think it was 404 before that with Wade Dollarshell. So that's exciting for him, but it's definitely going to be tough to see these guys go. They've been a staple in our program. They've been starting for 4 years, except for Tyler, who came in as a junior college kid. And it'll be tough, but we got to try to find a way to replace. If we can replace even half of them, it'll be a gain.
For that group, you mentioned a little bit about their statistics and the numbers they put up, but is their leadership in the dugout and in practice even maybe a bigger loss than what they provided for you on the field?
Absolutely. I think if you look at those 4 kids, they were leaders on and off the field. How they conducted themselves off the field, I believe 3 of those 4 are going to be academic all-conference with GPAs well over 3.5. So it's just the little things they do, the way they represent Bethany, the Bethany way, as we always talk about, and it's just been a real honor to have them around.
Obviously we're here at Bethany. I don't necessarily want to single out any one program, but the fact that Scholastica wins the race 18 years in a row now, what does it take for a team? What is it going to be for fight? You guys were close this year. Certainly a few years ago, you were literally 1 strike away from knocking off. What is it going to take for our team or any team within the conference to knock them off?
That's a good question. I've had that asked me a lot by recruits and different people. I think it's one of those deals where I think we just need to get that 1 win against them. We beat them throughout the course of the year and even in the conference tournament before. But I think it's more of getting that win that, when you see a doggy pile and kind of that monkey off your back. It's not that our kids don't think they can beat them. I think it's just with so much game readiness that they have. I mean, they've been in it. They've won those battles, and they've been in different situations. They've been successful, and it's not that we haven't been successful, but we haven't won that big game. And I think until we can actually win that big game, I think it's going to get a little bit easier. I don't know how much easier, but they're a good program. I mean, throughout the board, if you look at their athletic department, they're winning not just in baseball, and it's a good rivalry. It's our top rivalry, and it was good to kind of see us come down to the end this weekend.
So we'll close things out. You mentioned some of those top guys will be leaving, but who are the guys now that need to take on that role in the stat sheet and in the dugout? Some of those, whether they're juniors this year or some of the even the underclassmen, that you need to take that next step for next year.
I don't know if we can really name names. We're going to be a little bit younger next year. I don't know if we're going to have more than 2 or 3 seniors. I think some of these younger freshmen that got a chance to pitch a lot, like a Cody Leitner, a Nick DeWans, they're going to have to step it up a little bit. They kind of got to see what it was like to pitch in the college level. We got some hitters I think are going to have to step up to the plate and take over some different positions. Some of the kids that haven't been in some very big roles are going to have to be in a lot bigger roles. And, we're just excited. That's why our fall ball is aggressive as it is. We do a very stressful, I shouldn't say stressful, but very top-end fall ball, so we can kind of evaluate our kids and kind of see where they're at, and then hopefully they're ready to go in the fall.
And you'll get a time to have some R&R this summer?
I need a little break. I think you and I have talked about it a couple times in the last couple of weeks. It's been a long, you think about it, thinking about yesterday, we were supposed to go to practice, and we've been practicing since January 25th or 28th, whatever it was, and you start to miss a little bit, but it's definitely time to kind of relax and probably be at baseball games the next 3 weeks. So.
Then you throw in your duties as women's golf coach here, and yeah, you need a little bit of time at the lake this summer.
I do.
Very good. Well, hopefully you'll get that, but obviously we'll look forward to next year as well and see what the Vikings can put out on the baseball field. That's head coach Ryan Kragh and Don Westphal thanking you for joining us for this edition of the Bethany Sports Beat.